to our talk on social media. And we're so lucky because we have two experts here that are going to engage in a discussion on social media. I'm Jean Stevenson. I'm a diabetes educator, registered dietitian, specialist in sports dietetics. And I've been working in diabetes for many, many, many years, but this is one of the most amazing events that I've ever participated in. So it's so great that you could be here today. And I'm going to welcome up our ladies so that we can get started. And they're really going to tell you a little bit about themselves. We have two speakers today. We have Jillian and Laura. Maybe you already know them because you're already following them on Instagram. So come on up, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Okay. I want to make sure that, okay, we could switch those slides. Okay. So the community influencers today, so there's myself. My name is Jillian Rippolone, and I have here Laura. Laura is from LA. And then we were supposed to have Rob Howe come here today, but unfortunately he had a family emergency and couldn't make it. And we have someone filling his place, Matt Collins, and he should be here momentarily. So just a little bit about myself and to tie into diabetes with everything. I've been a type 1 diabetic since 1997. I've been a diabetic now for 22 years, and I also have a type 1 brother. We are 1 year apart and got diabetes 1 year apart. And there's no family history at all of type 1 diabetes or even type 2 diabetes in my family.
My name is Laura. I'm 26 years old. I've had diabetes for 22 years now. I'm the only one in my family with it. Are we going to do a little background of the page? So let's start from the beginning. I was diagnosed really young. I have never known life without diabetes. It's never been something I led with. It never was my identity. After high school, I went to this photojournalism program in Europe, and it was amazing. It was all based on injustice and poverty, and I got to live in 8 different countries and work on these really important issues. And I came back home to Redondo Beach, California, and I was like, what do I do now? We don't have the same issues here that we do over there. I really wanted to figure out how to use my photos for importance. And I never once in a million years thought about mixing diabetes and photography. Never. I don't know why. It was so not a part of me that I was like, why would I ever do something with it for the rest of my life? And then a couple years ago, I was at this random wedding, and I was talking to the photographer of the wedding, and she didn't know anything about me, and I didn't know anything about her. And she goes, I'm so sorry, I have to leave early. I have to go home. My 4-year-old was just diagnosed with this thing called type 1 diabetes. And he feels very alone and isolated, and he cries himself to sleep, and I need to be there for him. I can only show him statistics on a computer so many times of how many others are out there like him. And my whole world collapsed in front of my eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to do. So ever since that day, I was on this quest to photograph as many type 1s as I could. So I started this nonprofit called You're Just My Type, where I photograph people, I share their stories, try to bring people together, create communities, break down stigmas, spread awareness, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done.
And that's the thing, I don't think people really tie a disease with social media. When we think of social media, and especially for some of the parents that see a lot of the TV, what's going on, people just think social media is a Kardashian selfie platform. That's it, right? Everyone always is going after the perfectly filtered photos, the perfect captions. What kind of quote am I going to be using with this photo?
Hashtag.
Yeah, and we kind of started this new journey, I feel like, with social media. Yeah, this movement to bring awareness. Not only diabetes, but now there are Instagram accounts for everything. Every different disease you could think of, there's this community. Here's just kind of a little snip of our profiles. So for Laura's, You're Just My Type, she has 30,000 followers, And I would say mostly every single one has diabetes.
Yeah, so it says like 30.3 thousand. I bet 30,000 of those are type 1s or parents of type 1s. It's a lot of parents too.
Yeah.
Of kids with type
And then with mine, I guess my journey on Instagram, I was just kind of like dabbling. I had like my other Instagram, so non-diabetes related. And then somehow on my discovery page, I saw like a girl's pump, and I'm like, what? She's one of me. So of course I click her page, and she literally has like her whole account was based on diabetes. And I saw that, and it blew my mind, because I was always somebody that just hid my diabetes from the world, hid it from my friends, hid it from everyone. So I was like, you know what, if this girl could do it, I could do it. So that's when I started T1D Chick, and I will go to the next slide to kind of give you like a little bit of background. So I know for me, I hid my diabetes. What about for you?
You know, I didn't hide it purposely. I just didn't. I mean, when I had my pump on, that was like a conversation starter, but it was never something that I chose to talk about.
Yeah.
Now I mean, we're talking about like our old selves, because it never really, like I still hide it now, I feel like. Well, this is what I was telling Jillian earlier. I encourage people every day to be so proud of like this journey that we're all going on. And then the first time, I just got on the Dexcom in August, and I've been on shots and pens for a while, so I haven't had anything physically on me. And I'm always like you're empowered, you can do this, like go show it off. And then the first time I wore my Dexcom, I like went to go running, and I was just gonna like run in my sports bra and shorts, and I was like stared at myself in the mirror, and I couldn't bring myself to go outside having it visible. It's still something that I struggle with. It's more like I just get annoyed, like it's more just like an annoying, and it's an annoyance. It's not like I care that people know I have it.
For me, once I started my diabetic Instagram, I noticed that I was getting like a couple more like followers each day, didn't really think too much into it. And then I felt like overnight, even though it was like, let's say a course of like a year, the followers just came pouring out from all over. And these followers were just people, I had no idea who they were. And then those followers became friends, and I would say most of them are family now. And we need leaders in our community, and that's the thing. Everybody wants to be a leader, but sometimes just go into the next step. That's where people have like this struggle. They're like, okay, well, I want to do something, but what do I do? And social media it just opened up so many doors for me. It made me so confident with having diabetes. I used to have my pump, and I would like put it in my bra, put it like behind my shirts and stuff. And now I wear my Omnipod on one arm, and I have my Dexcom on the other. And people are gonna look. And it's not because, they're making fun of us. And that's not entirely true. It's because people don't know what it is.
Right.
And that's the thing. And people aren't educated enough about diabetes to know what it is. People say just like random things to us like, oh, is that a birth control patch? Is that a smoking patch? And I'm just like, no and no. Because people are just not educated because they don't see it. So when you have people like us who are kind of stepping into like this diabetic spotlight, it makes people realize that we're normal people too. We might have diabetes, but none of us are limited. It's not going to stop us from living our life. And if we have it, why should we feel uncomfortable in our own skin?
I've had diabetes for so long. Like I've never had a brain without. I've never had thoughts before knowing that I had diabetes, and I always wonder if I didn't have it, would I know? Like, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have all these type 1 friends. So what would I think a Dexcom? I always try to think what I would think an insulin pump was, what I would think a Dexcom is, and I can't wrap my head around what I would think. But you're right. The more we post people with it, the more people are going to know what it is, and it's all about just educating.
And then let's see that. So basically, another thing.
Oh wait, I was going to say one more thing about what you said. Also, I forgot saying that you saw a photo in your Discover page. It's like when I want to cook something at home, I'll type in on Instagram the thing I want to make to see all these different versions of what I want to eat. And now there's like this hashtag, it's just hashtag T1D, and you can type that in and you're just like flooded with these Instagram accounts or personal accounts that like want to be in that type 1 space, we call it.
And I think social media, it was like I said, it went from this time of just perfect, of like posting like these perfectly filtered photos, and now it kind of went into the other direction of being real. How easy is it for us to hide behind a screen and post these photos, right? It's so easy. We can make ourselves look like a size 2 when we're a size 12.
Also, how easy is it to show the one good blood sugar you have every day and take a photo and be like, look at me, I'm doing so well. And it's like, that was one moment in time that we get to show.
And you're going to find that there are people that are only going to post the good because that's what they feel is important. But
that's what they want people to think about that.
But with us, it's like we're posting the good, the bad, the ugly. My blood sugars are in the 200s and 300s, just like the next diabetic. My blood sugar will be 50, just like the next diabetic. Diabetes isn't perfect. And I think that's what people need to see, and see that there's other people like them.
I have people, so the way my page works, people fill out this like questionnaire I have. It's these 4 questions, and that goes under the portrait that I take of them. And I realized there were so many other aspects to these people than that 1 second in time I get with them. So now there's an option to send me 2 personal photos so that people can see like their work life and their family life and their relationships. But the number 1 question I get once they get their forms, they're like, does this have to be happy? Or like, are these only good moments? And I'm like, no, the most important thing about my page is that people need to know what it's actually like. Because you don't even want non-diabetics going on pages being like, oh, it's not that hard. Look how this glamorous lifestyle this girl's living. Like, they need to know all sides of it, I guess.
And with our accounts, so there's amazing social media influencers with diabetes from all over the world. And I think it's great how we all engage with each other. So with my diabetic account, I almost get offended when a non-diabetic follows me because it's like a.
Sorry.
No, it's because it's a place where we have like this comfort. We have this support. And I actually get messages from parents of type 1s and also spouses of type 1s. This one girl messaged me like, hey, my boyfriend's blood sugar is this, and I'm trying to get him on a Dexcom. What should I do? And these people like look up to us to help just people that aren't familiar so much with diabetes.
Have you ever had any negative comments on your Instagram posts?
Negative. Okay, so not everyone's going to agree with you. That's just how it is. Think about how many personalities there are. Times that by now, 19,000. Not everyone's going to agree with, let's say, whether it's my diet, whether it's exercise. There's always going to be, I think, ridicule. But for the most part, everyone's supportive. Everyone has a different method that works for them. And I think that's important as well, because not everyone's going to have the same course with diabetes.
I was curious. I feel like my page is a really safe space too. I've had people that want to share things on there that they've never shared before in their lives, and they're like, I'm really nervous. I don't want, like, what if someone says something? And of course they won't post if they don't want me to, but someone posted like this very like deep thing about them they've never said before, and I was like, there's not one, I've never received one, like, it's so full of support. I've never received one bad comment or message on the page, which I think is amazing, because you see these other pages in the spotlight and just mostly negative comments.
It's true, but I think especially with our community, everyone comes from the same background, right? We all have diabetes, and we respect each other on how we take care of it and our choices. Another thing that's really important too is these organizations that we have. We have JDRF. When I was diagnosed in about 97, I was 8 years old. And my mom took me to my first JDRF walk. And I was like, what is this? This is so weird. And then you look around and you realize, even at a young age, oh my God, there's people like me. So I've been with JDRF from the mid-90s. And it's just brought so much support for myself and my family. when I do these walks now, it's not just me. It's me, my mother, my siblings, my friends. It's everybody. And it's just important. People need to realize these organizations help us grow.
But along with these organizations, now it's so easy. We have everything in the convenience of our hand. Like, if you don't feel like going to an event and being surrounded by people, I'm not that type of personality that likes to be surrounded by people. You could go on your phone and you have this family of thousands and millions of people that are going through the same thing that you are, which I didn't have growing up. I didn't have pages like this growing up.
And one of the biggest movements, too, was the T1D looks like me. There's not one photo you will find on a diabetics account that does not have that hashtag. And like, that's what Laura was saying, right? You go to like the hashtag and you'll see 150,000 posts with just people living their daily life with diabetes.
And now, Rob Howe, who was supposed to be here, said something that stuck with me on another panel we did, and he said this is like this type 1 renaissance right now, where for the first time, it's like this cool thing to be diabetic. Like, and it's the first time ever that people are putting T1D like in their Instagram accounts because they want, now it's like a thing they're not, they just want people to know.
Yeah, because you're getting like more comfortable with themselves. I think acceptance takes time to grow. I know for me it did.
We're making waves.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
Was that everything
So,
outside?
Yeah. So this is how most people, not all, most people view diabetes, right? I have diabetes. How many of diabetics here can relate to this, right?
These photos?
Yeah. So I had a teacher that was like, my cat's a diabetic. Well, your cat and I are just a little different. I'm a human, they're a cat. I go through, these like different waves of just blood sugars and life and moods, and it's just a little different than your cat's. And then they're like, well, you don't look like a diabetic. And I was like, what does a diabetic look like? Because like, look at us, we're all like good looking people, right? I also think people view diabetes as you're extremely overweight, you came down with diabetes because you ate too much sugar, and these are ads, right? And I know some of them are type 1 and type 2, but
that's the other thing. Yeah. All of everything in the media just says diabetes. Every commercial you see about diabetes, it just says diabetes medicine, and these are all things geared towards type 2s. So I don't blame people for thinking these things when they hear diabetes. And that's why I actually know a lot of people who personally, every time they say I'm a type 1, and they just don't even feel comfortable saying the word diabetes after because of the stigma that comes with it.
It's true.
But like I said, I don't blame them. Everything in the media just says diabetes, which is exactly why people think these thoughts about us.
And that's one thing.
That's why we need to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, in our diabetes community, this is huge right now. We're trying to transform this this view and turn it into something that isn't just about an older diabetic, right? Or an overweight, diabetic, because that's not who we are. Maybe some of us have a couple extra pounds, but who doesn't? So this is a slide of pretty much everyone I personally know, except for maybe Nick Jonas.
You should have just left it at personally know.
So these are all of my friends who are diabetics, type 1 diabetics.
You didn't, not Derek Thieler?
I did put him on.
Have you met him?
No, not yet. So the Rob, who's supposed to be here with us, he is with the camera modeling his Medtronic pump, and he does so much awesome work in our community. He has a podcast of diabetics doing things, and he interviews diabetics from all over the world with different experiences. So that's definitely worth checking out. And I have some diabetics here. Let's see. Christelle, yeah. She
runs Diabetes Strong. It's like a entire website.
Yeah, she's a nutrition coach, runs a very successful blog. Underneath her is Azur. She is a type 1 for about 40-something years, and that's the one in the middle that says T1D looks like me. She's about, around 50 years old. And
what?
Yeah. No joke. That's what diabetes looks like. And she's a yoga. Yep, she does yoga. And then next to her, I know you're not going to believe this too, but next to her in like the darker picture, she is 63 years old and has crushed records powerlifting as a type 1 diabetic.
What's her name?
Her name is Linda Franklin. And she's on old social media as well. She lives in California, I think in LA area. So
really?
Yeah, see, right in your own backyard. And then next to my friend Azur is an Olympian. And then above that is actually a group. It's that top photo. They're all diabetics of all ages, mostly I would say teen to young adults. And they all met off of social media and now attend all different events together. That one, I believe, is from the Texas JDRF Summit. And then Matt Collins, who's going to
That's from LA.
be here.
That was from the LA Summit.
LA Summit, okay. I couldn't tell if it was California or, yeah. And then the one with the Arnold, that was actually from March. That's with me and all my diabetic friends. So we all met on social media.
That's another thing. You can do these meetups now.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that for a second. I have these people that reach out to me from all over the country, and they're like, "Hey, I live like so everyone was like, I live in Pittsburgh." Everyone kept, for some reason, Pittsburgh was going on. Like everyone was messaging me from there. I live in Pittsburgh. Do you know any other type 1s in the area? And I'm like, well, of course, I don't personally know them. But instead of doing like so I finally did a post. I did comments. I said, comment where you live, and I realized the concentration of these diabetics. They don't even know these communities exist around them. So I flew out to Pittsburgh and I hosted this meetup, and these people realized that they lived within like a 4-block radius of each other, and and they would have never met if it wasn't for Instagram to all like be talking to each other.
Social media brings people together because we are a community and we want to be surrounded with each other. We get it. And so that picture of with the Arnold statue, that's with me and all my friends in Columbus, Ohio. We flew out from all over the country to meet, and we've been doing this now. This is like our annual trip. So this year was our second annual trip. And we kind of keep it like a T1 only. So like no spouses, no like friends. We just keep it like just a nice T1 group.
You couldn't.
So going back to our other slide earlier about how people view diabetes. So this Athleta, does everyone know Athleta? They're a very popular clothing brand for women. And there's actually Athleta at Somerset Mall as well. And I was really happy to see that because they support diabetes. So Athleta, just a little like background about it. They have about 400,000 followers. Mostly each photo, so like I'll go through photos just to kind of get like these numbers for you. They average around like 3,000 likes per photo. And their comments are anywhere between 20 and 50 on a good day. They posted a diabetic that is sporting, is it her Dexcom? Yeah, her Dexcom. Look at what she has, over almost 8,000 likes and 500 comments. The type 1 community just went crazy over this because we're like, oh my God, one of me, like diabetes is becoming in the spotlight. Just how the Miss America, right, Idaho, Sierra Addison. She was Miss America, and she was sporting across that stage her Dexcom in a bikini. For us, like, that just shows us like there's so much hope and gives us so much more confidence. And let's see.
Do we know who she is? Maggie Crawford?
So I reached out to Maggie because I feel like I have to know everyone that's a diabetic.
Is she a model or she's...
You know, she does some catalog, but that's not like her main career in life. And if you actually go to her Instagram page, her name is Maggie Crawford, and I looked at her Instagram page and she has about 1,000 followers, and most of those people came from this ad alone. People were just looking at her like, oh my God, you're a hero. You are on Athleta, not only like the biggest clothing brand for like women, for like outdoors, but you just started now like this movement for us to like move forward with trying to change the image of what the media views us.
It's funny, I mean, Derek Thaler's in that show, Baby Daddy, right? Why don't they have like, why can't they just keep on there? Why can't they make their Dexcoms visible for these characters? Like, are there any shows out there with a type 1 diabetic?
I know they have.
Do you guys know? Are there? It's a serious question. Yeah, that's what I thought diabetes was gonna be like when I was diagnosed.
There was an episode, I think it was Castle, where the guy was killed with his insulin pump.
What? Really?
Oh wait.
Insulin pump out and was like dosing it, and I think it was Castle or something like that.
Okay.
But that's how the crime was.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I forgot too. Have you guys seen Panic Room? Remember Kristen Stewart's
yeah,
character?
that's
She
right.
had diabetes.
But if you really think about it,
Why
that's
isn't there anything
3
about-
examples of millions of movies
NCIS.
being made.
NCIS?
The guy Palmer.
Is he a main character?
I've heard. Well, he's sort of, kind of. He's the medical examiner.
Okay.
He's the medical examiner, and he has mentioned a couple of times that he has diabetes. I mean, they don't show his pump.
I think we need to do something about this. This is suddenly, now that I'm talking about it, this is like really bothering me.
In Big Bang Theory, Pat was like doing something with the prototype for Dexcom.
Really?
Because she became a pharmaceutical rep at some point.
Okay.
She had to she was talking about it, but she didn't say it by name. But she said, "Oh, it's this monitor that monitors my blood sugar." But she didn't say what it was. She just said described it.
I think we need to make a TV show with a type 1 diabetic recurring character.
I think.
If anyone's in the movie industry, I'll talk to you afterwards. Come up to me.
Well, yeah, you're in LA, okay? You probably
Okay,
like
then I'll
walk
make one,
by
I'll
like
make one.
Leonardo DiCaprio all the time.
This is insane. This is actually like angering me. I think
The
there
one
needs-
company, in my opinion, that I have seen so many young athletes, right, is Dexcom. Every ad is an athletic type 1 diabetic, not an overweight diabetic that's like 90 years old. And they're doing a really good job with that. And they also have, like, if you go under the hashtag Warrior Up, and that's another hashtag that has like all different diabetics from all around the world, just bringing more awareness. And that brings me to some online resources. So on Facebook, I know most people probably have Instagram or Facebook or both. There's so many online resources available to us, and I notice a lot of people ask me questions, and I'm like, oh my God, I can help you, because there's all these resources that people just don't realize that we have. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Like you were saying about the meetups, right? That people didn't even
and
realize.
these do you have a Pay It Forward group on there?
I do. So here's just like little like support groups and online resources. So the first one I have is like Omnipod and Dexcom. And it's not Dexcom running this. This is just a group of individuals that came together so we can have our own opinions and give our own advice.
There's a Facebook page if you want to replace your transmitter battery in your Dexcom, and she doesn't accept money. She takes payments in sensors. So it's like you trade her sensors, and then you send your battery in, and she like replaces the battery in the transmitter.
I know her personally,
Do you?
so of course. I know
never
her
been on her page. Somebody just told me about it.
The greatest part about her, she's in Michigan. And I won't give her information. Just let me know if you need anything. But
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So I came up with some other pages that I found. So for Michigan, I put up the T1 diabetic meetup. So there's about 100 so far on the meetup page, and that's where I probably met like half the people in the room. There was like 10 of us that live 1 block from each other, literally 1 block from each other, and it was just mind-blowing to see. There's also all these patient assistant programs available to people as well that are like in need some extra insulin and whatnot. And there's so many Pay It Forward diabetic pages.
Do you guys know what the Pay It Forward groups are? Yes? Is anyone that doesn't know?
Okay. Yeah, so basically, even though it's illegal to,
It's like the black market.
It's a black market for
Type 1
diabetes. People do trades all the time. So like when I got off of Medtronic and I got Omnipod, I was like, hey, bunch of Medtronic stuff. I'm looking for Omnipods. And so everyone does trades. Some people will
brilliant.
sell it, because think about, we're dishing out these copays, right? We're not getting that back. So sometimes
Tell them what happened to you
With which one?
with your bill after you gave away.
Oh yeah, so I got a shipment of supplies in, and there were things like I didn't need at the time. So insurance said, oh, everything went through, it's covered like usual. So no issues. So I realized all this stuff was going to waste because I wasn't using it in like a timely manner. So I donated everything I had to everybody from all over the country. Then about like 6 to 8 months later, I just get like a random bill for $1,700
For those supplies that you already
that I
gave away.
donated to everyone. So now I have the $1,700 supply bill, plus now my copay for the year, which is another like $1,500. So diabetes is very expensive, and if we could like help each other, that's why we have community. Until there's a cure, there's community. And I think that's the message that we need to understand, that we are all here for each other and have each other's backs.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. Very inspirational, but we wanted to save a few minutes for questions or comments. So please, if anybody has a question, I see one right there.
It's more of a comment than anything. And Jillian specifically, I know that my daughter follows you on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been quite the inspiration of what we call wearing her pump on the outside. To the point where she's never been very shy,
Mm-hmm.
being type 1, but to the point where now she's advocating for it. She gave a speech at a fundraiser this year. She volunteers at the zoo, and she wears decks on one arm and her pump on the other. And when little kids come up to pet the bunnies or whatever, and they see her pump, and she's got one just like me, and it really does.
And that's the best feeling.
With what
you
two are doing. So I wanted to thank you for helping start build a community where people, are accepting and
that's
really advocating for one.
And that's the thing, we need parents also, we need your involvement. We need you to take your little ones to all these different events. Let them experience other kids with diabetes that are just like them. I think it's really important, because then they're gonna grow up thinking, I'm normal just like the girl sitting in class next to me without a pump. We shouldn't be treated differently because we have some different gadgets on us.
I also just wanted to say thank you, because my daughter does follow you, and I couldn't answer some of her questions or understand some of her feelings, because I don't have type 1, and so for her to read your post, I think that's great.
And I always encourage people, it's like kind of like how I grew up too. Like, I wouldn't go like tell my mother or my father everything. I'd rather go talk to a stranger that I don't know than go to mom and dad and tell them all my issues that half of them can't even relate to.
And I mean, obviously I can empathize with it, but I can't always, answer questions with it. So that's great. The one thing I was noticing, because I just went to something else before, and it was called Choose Your Language.
Okay.
And one of the things that I heard you say that we had learned in the beginning not to use was diabetic instead of past diabetes. And so I just thought that was interesting. Like, have you ever heard that, or?
Oh, like person with diabetes versus diabetic?
Right. Because like.
That's a huge thing right now. It's like a very controversial topic right now.
It is. I think it's more of like sometimes I also think it's personal as well, personal preference. Like, I'm always like, yeah, I'm a type 1 or I'm a type 1 diabetic. Not just like, oh, I have diabetes. I think it could go both ways. But yeah, it's definitely out there for sure.
Yeah, and I always say to my daughter, you have diabetes, you're not, because that's what.
I think they go hand in hand with
Yeah.
each other.
For sure.
And it's just
Honestly, any way you identify with and it works for you and you're living your life, that's what works for you. We shouldn't have to be like figuring out which way to say it, right?
It's personally faster for me to say I'm diabetic than
Yeah.
it is to say person with diabetes.
Agreed.
Just too much, too many words. I say diabetic every single time I say diabetic. It's just like quick.
And one other thing, what's great about social media is too, we learn about all the different pumps, all the different CGMs, all the new things coming out. And it's so nice that because we're not sponsored we could give you our honest opinions about everything. We could say like something is great or something's really bad and maybe like stem away from it. But we could give you those honest opinions because we're not sponsored.
I mean, there's a few companies that sponsor me.
Well, you have an organization, but I know for me, I'm not sponsored. Is there any other questions?
How'd you get your G6?
So I started the G6.
How did you get it, or how do you like it? How'd you get it? Yeah.
I got it about maybe like 3 weeks ago. Dexcom kind of tapped into the social media market and went after people that have diabetes and would give their honest review of the G6. So they selected, I want to say, I heard it was around 300 people, but I think now it's a little more, let's say 300 to like 500 people that were able to test this product and review it before it actually hit the market. And it's definitely a lot sleeker than the G5. And the amazing part about it is, like you all know, it's just one push of a button, and that's it. There's no more pain. There's no more procrastinating before you do it. And yeah, like we all did, right? It's like 20-something years a diabetic, and I could still like feel like weird doing like the G5. So my background is in education. My degree is in special education and social science, but I'm currently working at a law firm, and I'm trying to go into the diabetes field. Yeah.
Have you been a teacher before?
I have not. I did student teaching, and then I relocated out here for work because I was getting paid at my job more than a teacher, and that's what's going to pay my bills right now. And you know, especially with all these diabetic like bills and invoices and supplies, it's a lot of money, and especially when you have rent on top of all your other bills. So, you know, you have to kind of do what you have to do at the moment. But I'm gearing to go into the diabetes field.
All right. We probably will have a few more minutes, maybe.
Okay.
But I think the keynote talk is here at noon, so we probably should be wrapping up. And you have an evaluation, please feel free to fill that out and leave it on your chair. But maybe the ladies would answer a couple questions.
Yeah, and I also have a little booth, the T1D chick. So if you want to come over and ask me any questions, you want to connect with me, please feel free to.
There's some great things over there, too.